Good morning. I'm Chad Goff from the Victoria. I'm the landscape chairman for 2020. And today's presentation is to give you the options for the landscape project that we've been working on. You may recall the last meeting we had was 2.5 hours presenting all of the owners' ideas for the project. And we developed from that meeting a series of guidelines to give to a designer. Now, you may also recall that we interviewed 7 different firms before selecting one. And I have with me today the owner and operator of that firm, Chris Runge.
Good morning.
Of Landscape Concepts. And the guidelines that we developed will be attached either here to the video or on the community website for your review, as Ron Crider decides after this meeting. Chris has developed for us an overall site plan, 2 options for the northeast sector, and 2 options for the entrance. Soon after this meeting, we'll be sending out to you a ballot, and you will be selecting either option 1 for the northeast sector or number 2 for the northeast sector. You'll be selecting either project A for the entrance and project B for the entrance. We do at the end of this meeting have some estimates of the cost. Those are not fixed in stone. They are not what this thing is going to cost, and that is not what you are committing to by this ballot. All you're committing to on this ballot is to pick a plan. And we will then send it out for bids. And once we've got the bids, we'll then present it to you one more time for full approval of the price and the overall project. Now, what we'll do today is I'm going to turn it over to Chris and let him present the overall site plan and the 2 options for each of the sectors. Thank you. Chris is here, and we're starting with option 1 in the northeast sector. When he's finished describing this one, we'll then proceed to option 2 of the northeast sector. The entrance plans will follow later.
Good morning. We'd like to walk you through the proposed project for the northeast quadrant, this being option 1. As you can see in this area here, this is the dune line vegetation.
I see. You're using the marker to point out what you're talking about. Okay, good. Thank you.
So as we scroll down, the objective of this plan was to create a larger area of planting and a new bed line, which you can see right here. This area right here, where the mouse is now pointing, is the existing grass line. Part of the proposed project is the relocation of these palm trees to create a softening or a buffer to the fountains to the north. And as we scroll down, you'll be able to see that. The plant material that we've chosen and proposed for this section is 90 to 95% all natives, such as introducing new clusters of saw palmetto, this being the existing sea grape that runs down the north property line. As we scroll down further, we've chosen native low shrubs and then introduced, as I scroll down further, Simpson stopper, green buttonwood, and Florida myrcene, represented by these symbols here, to form a naturally occurring buffer along the edge of the turf, which is bordered by 3-gallon low shrubs to give some ornamental detail and structure to the plan. As we go further down, you can see this is the area where the sable palms are being transplanted into, which is then again underplanted with sea grape, shown by this symbol right here. All the plant material that's along the existing grass edge would be removed, such as the myrcene, the oleander, this large bougainvillea that exists now would be transplanted back into the buffer. As we scroll further down, that's the end of this page. You can see that there is a match line, which we'll see on the next section of the drawing. So here you can see the match line from page 1. In the plan set, there are 21 individual pages that are drawn to a 1 to 10 scale. As we scroll down, and get the mouse working correctly, here again is the existing bed line. Here now, the proposed bed line. As you can see in option 1, there is a much larger percentage of shrubs to sod. Again, these are existing sea grape trees. The existing drainage area for the outspill from the roof drains. And then we have also incorporated natural plantings of Florida privet, which would be installed small but allowed to grow large.
Around the drain area, what are you doing around the drain area there? Or are those things that exist already?
What we're doing here is refreshing the river rock with large 4 to 6 inch, I guess you would say, miniature boulders, and then encasing that inside an aluminum banding so that it stays put. Then wrapping that area, as the mouse is showing, with palmetto. Then you can see again another section of transplanted palm trees here, and another section of transplanted palm trees there. I believe in total there are 31 palms which will be moved into that section.
So we're really opening up the view of those folks on the north side by removing a lot of those palms that are blocking, but still using those palms.
Correct. We're repurposing them so that we're controlling the cost of the project as opposed to buying new materials.
Wonderful. Okay.
And if we can scroll down a little further, this takes us into the narrow section along the walkway.
Now, kind of point to where the scavola hedge is now.
That's right in here.
Okay, and then goes further east, which is up
Correct.
A little bit. Okay, because I know we're planning to remove that.
We are, and we would be replacing that with Florida privet or Fakahatchee grass. Anything that we consider a Florida native that does well within the salt spray here along the coastal dune line.
Okay. Then when we get to the really narrow area, we've got the oleanders, the arecas, and the sables there. We wanted to provide a little bit more blockage to the parking lot.
Yep.
And what are we doing in that area?
We would be installing silver buttonwood, which is a Florida native that would be installed at about 5 feet in height, but grows to a height of about 10 to 12 feet.
Now, does it go all the way to the ground, or is it a tree?
All the way to the ground as a shrub.
Okay, good.
And then, as needed, as we scroll down, you can see that it is as well underplanted. So we have several different layers of plant material, so that we're taking care of the low view, the medium view, and the tall view.
Got it. Okay,
and
lovely.
then you can see here, this is where the sidewalk joins into the exit from the garages.
Okay, lovely. Anything else you wanted to tell us about this option 1 on the northeast quadrant?
I would say, to summarize, that option 1 is a more ornamental choice, which has a higher percentage of shrubs to grass.
Okay, lovely. Let's move on to option 2. Okay, so we're now on option 2 for the northeast quadrant. How would it generally vary from option 1 that we just finished going through?
Well, you can see very clearly here that the sod line for option 2 is much further towards the north property line, where before we were out in this area here with shrubbery. We're now pushed very close to the edge, so we've increased the sod space, the turf, as opposed to planting shrubs. We're using the option of choosing turf, which is more cost effective.
Okay.
Again, you can see each one of these symbols represents a palm tree, which would be transplanted back into the section which we're about to go down.
Now, when we're putting in all of this additional sod, the plan we have is going to introduce new irrigation for that
Yes.
section. Okay, good.
Yep, what we will probably have to add is 2 to 3 new irrigation zones. Again, these are clusters of palmetto to continue the dune line planting. Following down the plan, again we see the existing sea grape hedge. There is one spot of palmetto right here that we would propose removing so that we could have a uniform appearance to the turf. Again, this is the existing planting bed line. This is the new planting bed line where you can see the wheels spinning.
Okay, significant, right, significant difference.
Again, as we stop right here, let me scroll back up. All these symbols are palm trees, which will be transplanted into these sections down here. One of the main differences in option 2 is that we have changed the spacing on the myrcene, Simpson stopper, and silver buttonwood to reduce the number of plants required. But you can still see that they form this uniform, naturally appearing bedline under planting the transplanted sables, which I'm highlighting here.
Got it. Okay, now I know a lot of our owners are interested in blocking the view of the fountains. Is that taken care of in all of this planting
Yes,
that we're doing?
if we scroll back up, you can see that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 sable palms being transplanted into this area so that the tallest palms are on the northern edge, gradually reducing to shorter palms. One thing from option 1 that we kept was underplanting the transplanted palm trees with new sea grape, which are shown by these symbols right here.
Okay.
We've also, in some locations, included a small border planting to add some design to the project.
Okay, that's lovely.
These are also, again, existing sea grape trees. So we'll scroll down a little further. That is the extent of that page. Again, here you can see the match line, which will take us to the next page.
So we're going to page 2 of option 2.
Correct. So as we continue, here is the match line from the upper page. As we scroll down, you can see the continuation of the underplanting of the sea grapes and also the sable palms, which will be transplanted to soften the appearance of the fountains to the north. One of the things that changed in this section was where the location of the planting bed line in, which gave us the option to claim 2 more palm trees for the north property line. Again, we have underplanted some of the palms with native Florida shrubs like Florida privet, but as shown in this section here, instead of using semi-mature shrubs, we've chosen 18-inch high 3-gallon material, which in time will grow and also help reduce the budget. As we scroll down, from this point forward, the plan stays pretty much the same because we're entering into the narrower section. One change that continued in option 2 was the spacing and frequency of the 15-gallon, 5-foot-tall myrcene, Simpson stopper, and silver buttonwoods. Again, you can see here are 4 more transplanted sable palms to take care of the view of the fountains to the north.
Well, I don't have any further questions on this area. I think that's been a wonderful explanation of everything. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're now going to move over to the entrance plans, which will be option A and option B.
Anytime you're ready.
Okay, this is the entrance plan, which I'm referring to as option A. And Chris will tell us what he's done here. It's a total rip out of what is there, and we're replacing it with new plantings.
Okay, so here we have the guardhouse. And what this plan represents is a very formal, multi-layer approach. So you can see here in front of the guardhouse, we've used actually five different kinds of shrubs, so that we have a border planting, a medium height shrub, a low shrub, a gardenia, surrounded by iris. This is very formal and very geometric. Same thing on both sides of the entranceway. Everything comes out so that we're using a bedding plant and a border planting.
And what's the back one that you're showing there against the wall?
That would be a 4-foot tall podocarpus hedge, which would mirror the geometry of the entrance walls.
Now, I've always been concerned about plantings near the wall, because at some point we're going to need to paint that. What do you do about that? Do you just plant them further out?
Yeah, you can see that this open space is 18 inches. So everything is laid offset from the hardscape by 18 inches. On larger plant material and on ground covers, it's 12 inches.
Okay, thank you.
This shrub right here is Green Island ficus, surrounded by waxleaf jasmine. One of the concerns that came up during the design of option 1, which changed in option 2, was the fact that rabbits like Green Island ficus. So this option, you can see this red line, included rabbit fencing, which we'll see disappears in option B. One of the things, as I scroll down, all the palm trees along the north side which have grown up into these oaks will be removed, so that you get a better view of the oak trees and it's better for their health. Along the south side, as I scroll back up, these palm trees will be transplanted into the northeast section. On the south side, what we're proposing is the installation of 3 10-foot by 10-foot ligustrum trees to create a sense of an alley as you pull into the gate, so that you have this, simply said, an alley of trees that softens the wall again underplanted with Green Island ficus, waxleaf jasmine, Indian hawthorn, and then out at the corner, iris with annual color. At the front of the island, we're using dwarf podocarpus, Indian hawthorn, and annual color.
Now that's out on the point which goes out into A1A. Right now we've got the what's called riprap rock covering the bed. What are we going to do with that?
This area right here where the mouse is pointing to is where the riprap rock is. That's a tongue twister. Will now be raised Miami D curbing. And as I scroll to the bottom of the page, there's the detail for the Miami curb. This is very similar to the curb that you see at 99% of the entrances, and it will serve 2 functions. One, you won't be constantly cleaning up dirt and rocks, and it will also protect the asphalt and paver surfaces from raveling. One of the concerns at the gate as I scroll back up is that the shoulder curbing along the edges of the pavers is failing. So part of the project will be to lift up both the outer edges of the pavers, put in an actual footer, and set the pavers in concrete along the edges, and at the same time address the field of both the entrance and the exit where the pavers have separated.
Okay, I understand. Yes, that has been a problem.
Then on each side, we have the lights which light up the entrance signs. Both the landscapes on both sides are mirrored at this point. And we chose to put the flowers on the entrance side so that as an owner or a guest arrive, the flowers greet them.
Lovely, lovely.
And then as I scroll back up, option A, addresses the back of the island, again with annual color, philodendron xanadu, and iris, and mirrors the same plantings on both the entrance and exit radiuses.
Now, the area directly behind the gatehouse,
Right here.
right there, is the one that currently has kangaroo fern.
Correct, and variegated arbicola.
Right. Okay.
Then on each corner, as I scroll up a little bit more, we've added 3 8 to 10 foot tall Simpson stoppers to extend the sense of LA as you come in the driveway, sort of softening the view back into the woods, but creating just a sense of space around the gate. Then on the east side of the gate, this area right here, there's been I guess you could say an interest raised with relocating the fishtail palms, which are along the edge of the driveway. Not shown on this plan, they would be, in option A, transplanted into the area along the meadow.
Okay.
Again, a slight redesign using the same plant materials. Indian hawthorn, annual color, Xanadu, and then wrapping the planting bed, as you can see where the mouse is traveling here, with transplanted and additional liriope to give it some sense of design and geometry.
Okay, just for a sense of reference, can you scroll up and show us where the current bromeliad garden is?
That would be in this area right
Okay.
here. And if we scroll up a little higher, you can see there's the edge of the tennis courts.
Okay, that helps me locate where we are. Okay.
So that's pretty much Plan A in
All
a
right.
nutshell.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions about that at this point. So let's go on to option B for the entrance.
Okay.
I'd like to impress him too. All right, we're now moving on to section or option B of the entrance. Let you go ahead and tell us what the general difference in this option is from the one we just saw.
Simply said, it's elegance understated. Sort of the difference between a flashy ring and a solitary diamond. One of the things that was heard from the residents, if I can say that correctly in
I
the
think so.
survey, is not to do anything with the back of the island. So we've left the kangaroo fern in place.
Now, there's a big gap in the kangaroo fern. Is there some way we can just fill that in?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things you will see in this section is we're proposing a proper drainage system for the gatehouse. As opposed to just tubing laying on top of the ground, this would be a 6-inch underground drain line with catch basins for the downspouts. While we're in this area, we've kept the same design as in the Plan A, Option A, with the philodendron xanadu, the iris, and the specimen Simpson stoppers. How the plan is changed, and you'll be able to note the changes by the revision clouds, these symbols here. Instead of 5 different plant materials, we've narrowed it down to 3. We've eliminated the Green Island ficus, which got rid of the need for rabbit fencing. We've eliminated the wax jasmine border planting. So now we're simply with philodendron xanadu, and I hate to admit it, a shrub which escapes my name at this time because I don't have the plan in front of me. Okay, we've changed it to a large mass planting of waxleaf jasmine.
Waxleaf jasmine. Okay, let's go back down there and.
So you can see now these are large mass plantings of waxleaf jasmine. Same on this side, same on this side. We still kept the podocarpus hedges as a mirrored landscape feature to the geometry of the entrance walls. We've changed the annuals to perennials so that there's not a need every 6 months to put new flowers in. We've also reduced their size. So this is now dwarf, petite, Ixora, which will provide the color you're looking for, but again, not have to be replaced twice per year. Again,
Do you have any idea what the perennial might be other than the Ixora, or are they all going to be Ixora?
They would all be Ixoras.
Okay, lovely. Okay.
If you so chose after the plan was installed that maybe a year or so down you wanted to plant annuals there, it'd be very simple to do.
Do it, fine. You're doing the same curbing that was in option A.
Yep, but what we did was we just went with the Indian hawthorn, this crosshatch right here,
Yes.
and eliminated the border planting along the edge of the turf.
Okay. Now there's a big circle hedge around the front oak tree.
That all disappears.
That disappears. Okay.
Basically, within the entrance parameters, we would be stripping the landscape down to bare dirt.
And then putting sod in. Is there sod in that area?
Yes, you can see that these areas represented here, here, over here, are all turf.
Okay, lovely.
And we also, here at the lights around the entrance signs, got rid of the iris, got rid of the annual color, and just extended the Indian hawthorn all the way to the corner of the walls.
Now, I know that in doing your planning, and we had asked you to do some lighting. That's another plan, I'm sure, but can you just generally talk about the lighting that you proposed?
I can. What we, at this point in time, I'm going to scroll up, there is one light in the entire gate area.
That works.
That works. What we're proposing for these trees along the north side is to use moonlighting.
I don't know that term.
So in this section here, the lights would be actually mounted in the trees and shining down. For this tree here, the oak at the end, and this oak at the end, we would uplight them so that these would be highlighted as you pull in, but then in this area here, the light would shine down, casting the shadows like moonlight.
Okay. Now, do you have lighting planned for the ligustrum trees on the other side?
Yes, we do. As we scroll, right here are the ligustrums. There are small spotlights to uplight them.
Uplight them.
Very simply uplit. What we wanted to stay away from was creating a runway. So in matching, if I was used the term elegance understated to design this plan, the lighting would mirror it.
Fine. Now we move across from the entrance into what we call the meadow area, or what's circle. Now this is different also from what was in the prior plan.
Completely different. The thought process in this plan was to take the existing fishtails, which are highlighted inside this revision cloud, and move them to the back edge of the planter. Again, I want to make sure I say this properly. One of the things that came back was maintaining a view in to the front architectural statement of the Victoria itself. So these are all offset so that you still have the view in at the front of the building, but at the same time creating a sense of privacy as you pull in the gate.
Okay, that's lovely.
Creating a window. And then the plantings along the edge pretty much stay the same. Indian hawthorn, Xanadu. We did take out the annual color to help control the costs, and then at the same time kept the border planting of Liriope, which is highlighted with this crosshatch, to add some kind of geometric features. And this plan has a little bit more development in it. You can see the walkway leading into the meadow and the area where the bromelia garden is.
Lovely. Okay. Now, I know there was some concern from residents expressed about the need for water that would be caused by your plan and all the addition of the grass. What's the current status on availability of water or need for water in these plans?
Well, what I'm thinking is that you will see a slight increase during the installation period, but once established, again, a large percentage of this plant material is native, so that as the plan becomes mature, water requirements become less.
How do we handle the plantings with irrigation? Do you have movable sprinklers or something?
No, during the project, and let's just say you proceed with the full scope of the work, the contractor who does the installation is required to maintain the project. So they are required to hand water, weed, do any of the maintenance within the scope of the project boundaries.
Okay, lovely. Also, what's that going to do to our maintenance costs? Or do we have more plants to take care of and more grass, or how would that weigh?
Well, if we look at the northeast quadrant, it's left to grow into a natural form, so we've eliminated the need to hedge plant material, prune plant material. Basically, you're just going to let it grow to maturity.
And we probably still will have some dealing with these invasive vines. I don't know how you ever get rid of them in South Florida.
Yeah,
or
they are.
wherever we are.
They are. My favorite word is nefarious. It's just a matter of proper ongoing management.
Okay.
During the cleanup process, the selected vendor, should the project be approved and proceed, would be required to clean all that mess completely out.
Okay. Okay. I know that you've done some estimates of the costs for the various plans that we've presented this morning, and I know they are really rough estimates based on your experience in the community. Can you give us an idea about these costs? And I want to warn our owners, these are not fixed costs. These are his estimates. Once you've made your selection, we will then put it out for bid, for at least 3 bids on each of these. We will then be presenting to you the option of proceeding once we've got the bid in and given you a recommendation of what the bid is. So please do not rely on these except for general information.
Okay, as you said, these are very rough numbers. And the only way I could describe how they've been obtained is over years of collecting previous projects. Also, we had some pre-planning meetings with local vendors who we would consider as viable options, sort of pre-qualify them, and sort of said, what do you think is a range? So as you can see, the first line item is the northeast section listed as sheets 1 and 2. Option 1, which was the option that had a larger percentage of plant material to turf, 137, 245. Option 2, which was a larger percentage of turf to shrubs, 82, 172. And there you can see the difference in cost.
Okay, is that 55,000 difference?
Correct.
Okay.
And that is attributed mostly to the fact that sod is cheaper per square foot, and we changed the spacing on the plant material and also reduced some of the sizes to be budget friendly.
Okay, we like that. Now, I see that I've changed your reference on the entrance, the landscape for the gatehouse, from option 1 and 2 to option A and B, but these are the same references we had before?
Correct.
Okay.
So for option 1 shown, which is option A, 101, 444. Option 2, 9605. And I will say that both those options include the landscape lighting and the curbing and paver repairs.
Okay.
All inclusive.
Okay.
Then all the other options are listed below. They stayed the same because no real changes were made. And at the bottom line, would you like to announce the total prices?
Well, it really kind of depends on what the owners select. If they
Correct.
select option 1 and option A,
Oh, right.
and we'll then have 295,044. If they pick option 2 and option B, we're at 234. But there's any number of combinations that could be done which will vary these costs.
Correct.
We could have option 1 and option B, or option 2 and option A. So these aren't the only things that it could come out. It's just to give them some kind of an estimate, because everybody has just been bugging me from the beginning, what's this thing going to cost? And now we have at least some idea. I'm very optimistic that if we put these things out for bid, we're going to have a significant reduction in these estimates down to the actual cost. Maybe I'm just being unrealistic and foolishly optimistic, but that is my thought.
I think that you've said that correctly, because you're going to have bidders who want the project. How the bidding process will go would be that we would advertise with the bidders, we would meet them on site with a pre-bid meeting, walk them through the project, then give them 18 days, 30 days, whatever the decision is, for them to return sealed bids, so that we're sure all the bids are clean and on top of the table. At which time we would bring to you a spreadsheet with our best suggestion.
Okay. Lovely presentation. I really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to serve your community.
Thank you, Chris, for that really wonderful presentation.
You're welcome.
I think that all of our owners will have a clear understanding of the options they have for the northeast sector and for the entrance. Now, we'll remind them now that they will be getting a ballot very soon, and they'll be selecting either option 1 for the northeast sector, or option 2 for the northeast sector, and option A for the entrance, and option B for the entrance. We will have the estimated cost of each of those projects attached with the ballot, so you'll be able to see and vote either by cost or by your aesthetic selection. We appreciate your attention for this program today and look forward to continuing our project. Thank you very much.
Thank you.